Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine this. You're just a regular guy running your small business, minding your own, and then bang. Your life is instantly turned upside down by a mysterious stranger, violence, and a devastating fire. Suddenly, you're not just a businessman anymore. You're smack in the middle of a complex, dangerous mystery.
It's a dramatic shift, isn't it, from a quiet life?
Yeah,
It feels like the floor just drops out from under our main character.
absolutely. And that's exactly where we're starting this deep dive. Our source material today comes from the opening chapters of Walter Mosley's novel, Fearless Jones. We're stepping into this fictional world as if it were fact, seeing everything primarily through the eyes of the narrator, Paris Minton.
Right. Our mission here is to trace Paris's steps as he navigates this sudden eruption of crime and danger. It all starts with a woman looking for help, and we're going to try and unravel the tangled web of connections that the text lays out. Burned buildings, hidden money, unexpected deaths, and yeah, even some international intrigue.
So let's set the scene. We meet Paris Minton in Watts, trying to make a living selling discarded library books. The text is clear. This wasn't easy for a black man running his own business in Watts at that time. He faced, well, constant harassment from the police.
Yeah, it's not just about setting up shop. It's about asserting yourself in a challenging environment where that kind of independence is met with suspicion. Paris's solution shows his cleverness using an official letter from the downtown head librarian's office to prove his legitimacy.
That letter was crucial. It showed the books were officially discarded, gave him a basis to push back against the police rousts, as he calls them.
Hmm.
As
Mhm.
Paris puts it, the police weren't used to seeing a black man going into business for himself. And while the letter didn't stop the harassment entirely, it gave him, a foothold.
And it's into this established, albeit difficult routine that the catalyst arrives.
Exactly. That's Elana Love. Her arrival is described with immediate impact. Her appearance is striking, even if her face isn't conventionally pretty or handsome. Paris feels an intense, instantaneous reaction, a coin toss between love and fear.
That phrase, love and fear, immediately signals the danger she represents, or at least the danger she brings with her. She's urgent, looking specifically for a Reverend William Grove, connected to Father Vincent and Sister Thalia. Her scent is noted too floral, but with this sharp undertone, like the smell after lightning strikes, kind of ominous.
And that smell of storm hits almost immediately. Right after Paris offers Alana a ride, he's attacked outside his own bookstore.
It's swift and brutal. Paris is beaten, left laid out, and critically, his bookstore is burned down.
He contrasts his reaction to this with the routine police attention. He was put out by the roust, but not surprised by the cops showing up. That was an expected part of his life.
Right. Annoying, but expected.
But the violence, the beating, the fire, that was a shock.
It's the destruction of his livelihood, the core of his identity as somebody that truly registers as a violation, pushing him far outside his comfort zone.
Which brings us to the first person Paris thinks of when he's in trouble, someone he wishes he hadn't refused to help. Fearless Jones.
Fearless, Paris's longtime friend, or perhaps, more accurately, his longtime protector and, let's be honest, source of trouble. At this moment, Fearless is incarcerated. The text tells us he was arrested for felony assault after beating up 3 crooked mechanics. Though he was convicted on a lesser charge, he needs $500 for a fine.
And Paris had refused to pay it earlier, telling Fearless he just can't do it, through the jail's visitor grill. The text notes Fearless didn't show disappointment, even though he'd saved Paris's life years ago.
That history is the complex core of their relationship. Fearless saved Paris's life 8 years prior, a major debt. But Paris also feels he's risked his own skin many times for Fearless, who is a decorated wartime hero, but also constantly involves Paris with dangerous people, loan sharks and wife-beating husbands, con men, and shady landlords. It's a pattern.
Paris is quite explicit about himself. I am not a courageous man. Yet, because of his connection to Fearless, he routinely finds himself in dangerous situations. His initial refusal to bail out Fearless makes perfect sense. It was an attempt to finally disentangle himself from that cycle of trouble.
The irony, though, is that by not bailing Fearless out to avoid trouble, he finds himself in a situation far worse, needing Fearless's unique brand of help more than ever. It's a classic, be careful what you wish for scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So Paris wakes up after the attack, injured, unsure if he's even alive. He feels a touch and realizes Elana Love is still there. She'd hidden behind a file cabinet during the initial violence. Her scent, that mix of floral and sharp, is still present.
This is where they properly introduce themselves. Elana Love and Paris Minton. Paris repeats his name, almost like an incantation, described as an attempt to extricate myself from the trouble in that room. But, of course, that doesn't really work.
No. Elana confirms that Leon made her come and was looking for something.
And that leads them to Guardino's Diner, a place Paris and Fearless know well, with an Italian atmosphere. The owners, Larry and Selena Karski, greet them warmly despite the surprised looks from other mostly white customers. Paris orders beer, minestrone, and antipasto, a detail that gives us a small glimpse into Fearless's preferences, showing he's still on Paris's mind.
Why bring her here, to this familiar spot, knowing it might draw attention? Paris tells us clearly. He wanted to understand the trouble he was now in. He brought her not out of altruism, but out of a desperate need for information.
But Elana is initially evasive. She struggles with the truth, a mix of lies and fear. The text notes she witnessed Paris's humiliation during the attack, which makes her sneer slightly when he asks how he could help her. It's uncomfortable.
She does start to reveal crucial details, though. The first big one is about Leon's cellmate in prison, Saul Tannenbaum. Saul was in for embezzlement, described as not a criminal type. Leon, the tough one, promised Saul protection in exchange for something implied to be a bond.
She adds that Leon was released just an hour before showing up at her door, demanding this bond. She insists she didn't mean to get Paris into trouble. She was just trying to find a way out of her own predicament. Whether you believe her, that's another question.
True. The text returns to Elana's mystique. Selena, the diner owner's girlfriend, calls her a beauty, asking if she's an actress or model. Elana denies it, but her eyes and body language convey a whole volume of mystery. She's clearly more than she appears.
With his bookstore gone, Paris needs a place to go, and bringing Elana back to the destroyed store isn't an option. She suggests his place, but he lives at the store. So they decide on a cheap motel near Venice Beach, the Muscle Beach Inn. Paris says the waves help me think, suggesting a desire for calm amidst the chaos.
They get a room at the Muscle Beach Inn, just half a block from the ocean. Paris leaves the sliding doors open, finding a false sense of security here, believing Leon wouldn't find them.
The intimacy is short-lived. Paris makes an attempt, but Elana says she's too upset and suggests they just sleep. The room has 2 single beds. Paris sleeps clothed, with his car key, money, and Fearless's pistol close at hand, ready to run. He claims he's not really afraid, just cautious, but the preparedness suggests otherwise.
Yeah, cautious is putting it mildly. We get another glimpse into the complicated history with Fearless here, revisiting an incident where Fearless took a knife protecting Paris from crooked cops. Paris still feels he should have taken that beating himself. Despite Fearless being a killer, Paris believes he's also a good man too. But this goodness, this willingness to help, constantly pulls Paris into conflict with the dangerous people Fearless deals with.
It reinforces Paris's internal conflict, his loyalty and debt to Fearless versus his fundamental desire to avoid danger. He's not cut out for this world, but he's tethered to someone who is.
Needing both help and a place to stay, Paris seeks out Milo's suite. He arrives at Milo's office, described with Loretta, the assistant, the smell of menthol smoke, and a chessboard, suggesting Milo is a man of contemplation, perhaps strategy.
Milo, described as knowing the definition of every word, immediately reads Paris's situation. He deduces Paris isn't in trouble with the law or his finances, so it must be about Fearless. He notes something must have changed since Paris refused to pay Fearless's fine. Milo's talent is reading between the lines, and he correctly concludes Paris is in trouble because of Fearless, or at least now desperately needs him.
Milo agrees to help, though it's too late to get Fearless out today. He offers Paris a place to sleep a cot at the office, jokingly calling him their watchdog.
It's on this cot that Paris has a pivotal moment. The text describes the canvas cot feeling like a stretcher or a coffin. And in this coffin-shaped room, Paris's perspective shifts.
He realizes his bookstore wasn't just a business, it was what made me somebody, rather than just anybody. Burning it down, he decides, was like shooting me. This loss solidifies a new resolve. Somebody would have to make restitution for that crime. He's not just reacting anymore, he's deciding to seek justice, or at least compensation.
This newfound determination is rooted deeply in his history. The text gives us a powerful flashback to his love for books and the segregated library. He sat outside the white library, devouring books, until a mean librarian, Celestine Dowling, tested him cruelly, making him cry.
That memory underscores how much his store meant to him. Building something out of nothing, defying the barriers he faced. Losing it is like losing a part of himself. While at Milo's, he uses the phone books, searching for Elana Love and finding an E.E. Love on 28th Street, a potential lead.
The next morning, Milo arranges the bail, and they head to the county jail downtown. The scene there is stark and immediately brings the issue of race to the forefront.
Absolutely. We hear the blatant racism from the white guards talking about chaining prisoners, saying niggers always come back. It's raw.
But then, there's a surprising contrast. A snaggle-toothed white prisoner speaks to Paris through the bars, expressing his own contempt for the 4F flat-footed fools the guards military rejects, who get mad when a black man's a hero because they ain't shit. It's a brief, unexpected moment of shared disdain for authority, cutting across racial lines within the prison context.
Fearless is released. He gets back his few possessions. Paris's $29, Layla's keys, and his empty wallet. Milo advises him to check his property, but Fearless waves it off. Oh, that's all right. Very fearless.
Paris feels a pang of guilt for not bailing him out sooner, believing he was the one who was wrong. Fearless immediately dispels that guilt by forgiving him, just like that.
Paris fills Fearless in on everything. Elana Love, Leon Douglas, the burning of the store, calling it some costly leaven. He emphasizes the need for restitution for the store. Dude, kick my ass, then shoot at me. Burn down my store. You gotta pay money for that. Fearless's reaction is silent. He looks down, processing.
His silence here is significant. Fearless isn't prone to lengthy explanations, but his quiet absorption of this news suggests the weight and complexity of the situation registered deeply with him. He's taking it all in.
Lila, Fearless's girlfriend, lends them her pink Packard, even though she's mad he kept it. She's concerned about where he'll sleep, but Fearless states he's bound at the hip to Paris until this business is done, especially since Paris's place is gone.
Their exchange about finding a place to stay highlights their different recent experiences. Paris thinks any place is nice if it got walls and don't smell like smoke, while Fearless, fresh out of jail, says any place is nice if it ain't got bars and it don't smell like piss and disinfectant. It's a small moment, but revealing about perspective.
They head to the E.E. Love address on 28th Street. It's a small gray house with golden roses and a stuffed mailbox marked Miss Elana Love, confirming it's her place. A large dog appears, but Fearless calms it easily, a display of his ability to handle dangerous situations, and the dog ends up acting like a guard for them.
Paris finds an unlocked window, allowing them to enter. Inside, they find a shopping list, and importantly, a yellow note with San Quentin Prison, the initials CT, and an Axminster phone number. This is a key piece of information, linking back to the prison and Alana's earlier story about Leon and Sol Tannenbaum.
CT is Conrad Benjamin Till, the super of some apartments on Horn. Since Alana's phone is dead, they use a gas station payphone to call the Axminster number. Paris plans to call, pretending to be Leon's friend, feeling a rare sense of control after finding this lead.
Fearless is skeptical, his caution stemming from experience. What if he was the one sitting next to Leon when he was chasing your ass down the street?
Yeah.
He's already thinking about the connections Paris might not see, always a step ahead mentally.
They go to the apartments on Horn, described as a maze. They find Conrad Benjamin Till in his apartment. He's dead, shot in the chest. The scene is bloody, unsettling.
Paris notes the shock of it. He'd forgotten he was even looking for Elana, completely overtaken by this new violence. They find a bloody towel in the bedroom, suggesting an attempt to clean up.
And then, one of the most unsettling moments. As they leave, the corpse seems to move. Fearless stops them until swings a fist. It's a final, almost supernatural act from the dead man, heightening the tension and fear. Really chilling.
While that's happening, back at Fanny Tannenbaum's house, where Paris had taken refuge, he discovers a wad of small bills in his pocket, Fanny's household money, which he inadvertently took when she helped him. Fanny is there, showing intense distrust of the police, calling them swine.
Sergeant Bernard Latham arrives at Fanny's. He's big, blocky, blonde. He immediately questions them about stabbing Saul. But Fanny, despite her small size, stands up to him, telling him they aren't under arrest and he should leave. Latham eventually goes, but Paris notices his right eye twitching a small detail. Paris interprets as telling the whole story right there, suggesting a hidden tension or dishonesty.
Fanny denies Latham's claim about millions of dollars, stating they don't have that kind of money. Paris also asks her about John Manley, a real estate agent who called asking specifically for Fanny, not Saul. She shakes her head, not providing any clarity there. Another dead end, sort of?
A little while later, Fearless hears news on the car radio. Conrad Till is dead. The report says he died overnight at Mercy Hospital from heart failure after an anonymous tip. Fearless immediately questions the cause of death, noting he'd been shot worse and survived.
And the cop speaking to the newsman on the radio, Sergeant Latham. Paris's observation that Latham gets around connects Latham directly to Till's death and the hospital narrative. It's getting thicker.
This link between Till, Latham, and Mercy Hospital prompts Paris to ask if Raya, a head nurse in the baby section, still works there. They decide to seek her out for information.
Fanny adds another layer. She visited Saul in the hospital. He was weak but happy to see her and Gela. But the doctor's words about Saul clouded Fanny's face, hinting at bad news regarding his condition. So Saul's situation is precarious too.
They find Raya at Mercy Hospital on her break. Paris uses a partial truth, saying he's looking for a woman connected to Till. Raya, working in the baby section, seems detached from the criminal world, initially dismissing the idea of knowing a foul-mouthed, murdered man, and dismissing what the papers say about him never regaining consciousness.
But Raya provides crucial, contradictory information. She confirms cops came initially and left, but Sergeant Latham came alone later and spoke to Till, who was a waking cousin, before Jeannie Seidel found him dead. The listed cause of death was heart failure, but Raya is skeptical, noting, "That's what always kill you," implying it's a convenient explanation.
This is a major revelation. It confirms Latham's direct interaction with a conscious Till, contradicting the official story and strongly suggesting foul play and a cover-up regarding Till's death. Latham looks dirtier and dirtier.
Amidst this escalating danger, Fearless offers his perspective, comparing their current predicament to his experiences in wartime. He describes being thousands of miles from home with enemies on all sides, both German and American soldiers calling him nigger, all wanting him dead.
That's a powerful image. Puts things in perspective, maybe.
It is, and he claims he wasn't scared then, asserting that this current mess is no more bad than a night with a girlfriend like to bite. It's a typical Fearless statement, downplaying lethal danger with a dose of dark humor, but it reveals the depth of the life-threatening situations he survived.
They need more information, particularly about Reverend Grove. Fearless, ever resourceful in this world, sets up a meeting at the Charles Diner described as a night haunt for business and trouble with Dorothea, a beauty parlor owner who knew both Grove and Father Vincent. Paris gives him some money for the date, a sign of his growing reliance on Fearless.
Paris is left alone after dropping Fearless off, and reflects on his fear of driving away, knowing Fearless might be gone for a few days with Dorothea. It's another moment highlighting Paris's discomfort with isolation and the lack of protection Fearless provides. He's vulnerable.
Paris decides to take action himself and confront Father Vincent about Grove. He finds Vincent and some deacons at the church. Vincent uses the name Mr. Lockwood when addressing Paris, immediately adding a layer of formality or distance, which is weird.
Paris asks about Grove, and Vincent says Grove left suddenly because of a misunderstanding. He then shares a significant story about a man named Holderlin who came looking for Elana.
Holderlin claimed to work for the Jewish government, which Paris explicitly confirms means Israel. Holderlin's story to Vincent was that Tannenbaum stole money from them, the bond was one of many, and he was offering a finder's fee for Elana's location.
When Paris asks about the value of this stolen money or the bond, Vincent gives him a suspicious look. Paris leaves, feeling a sense of agency for the first time since Elana's arrival, knowing Vincent will call Grove, which is precisely what he wants to happen. It's a calculated move. He's learning.
We also get an interjection here about Sal Grimaldi, Paris's white friend who hadn't seen a black person until he was 21. Sal didn't believe racism existed outside the South and couldn't understand why black people didn't achieve more like other immigrant groups, suggesting they should just go to school and buy the businesses and take over your own communities.
This offers a contrasting perspective, a well-meaning but completely uninformed view of the systemic barriers faced by black people. Paris notes that Sal was nice, but, like the libraries, had very little information about Paris's actual reality. It highlights how differently people can perceive the same world based on their experiences. It's a sharp commentary.
Later, Paris calls Reverend Grove himself, using the name Tyrell. He sets up a meeting at the Charles Diner, asserting control by dictating the time and place, refusing Grove's suggestion of his home. Paris notes a broken window at Grove's supposed location, adding another small detail of disarray. Things seem unsettled everywhere.
The plot continues to thicken rapidly back at Fanny Tannenbaum's house after her death. 7 uniformed cops arrive. Gela, understandably distraught, explains Paris is a boarder.
Paris provides an alibi playing chess, and crucially, lies about knowing Elana Love, trying to protect Fearless, who is connected to her. He has to lie now.
A police doctor examines Paris's hands, finding no evidence. He tells the sergeant, "I don't think so," clearing Paris as the immediate suspect for Fanny's death. The police search the house, noting the broken glass to the back door as a crime scene. Gela goes with the ambulance carrying Fanny's body. It's grim.
While the police are occupied, Paris explores Sol's house. He finds photographed stern ancestors and a laughing Fanny with lilies showing her warmer side. In Sol's drawers, he finds foreign letters from Israel, Germany, and Argentina, and newspaper clippings. One clipping, circled in red, mentions Lawson and Widlow, an accounting company, brokering the sale of French royal jewels to a museum.
This clipping is a significant breadcrumb, hinting at the true value and nature of the bond or the money. It connects Saul Tenenbaum, an embezzler, to international high finance and potential stolen artifacts. This is getting bigger than just a local thing.
He also finds a loaded .38 pistol in the bottom drawer. Paris debates taking it, feeling vulnerable, especially after Elana took Fearless's gun. But he ultimately decides against it, fearing the trouble if cops found a stolen illegal weapon on him. It shows he's still cautious despite his newfound resolve. Smart, probably.
While Paris is exploring, Zev Minor arrives at Fanny's house. He claims to be a family friend there to stay with Fanny. Paris informs him about the deaths, and Zev, showing subtle reactions, asks to see Saul in the hospital. His arrival feels a little too convenient, doesn't it?
Very convenient. Officer Binder interrogates Paris outside Fanny's. Binder has cold, shiny blue eyes. He probes Paris's relationship to the Tannenbaums and questions if Fanny's niece or nephew might have wanted them harmed. Paris defends Gela and Morris, describing their love for Saul and Fanny, though he notes Fanny thought Morris a fool.
Binder dismisses Paris's account and shifts his focus to Sergeant Latham. Paris becomes evasive, mentioning Latham was at Fanny's and that he saw in the papers that Latham was interrogating Tell, suggesting Latham was on a citywide police unit. He lies about where he read this, and Binder signals his suspicion by pressing down hard when they shake hands. It's clear Paris is now on the police radar, connected to multiple deaths and suspicious figures like Latham. The pressure's on.
Paris also has a moment of frustration with Fearless, arguing with him about Gela. Paris is upset. Fearless kissed Gela, accusing him of taking a woman right out from under her husband. Fearless dismisses it, saying she needed a kiss, that's all. It's a glimpse into Fearless's uncomplicated, perhaps morally ambiguous approach to relationships and emotional needs.
Yeah, Fearless operates by his own code, I think. Reverend Grove meets Paris and Fearless again, perhaps at the Charles Diner. Grove explains visiting Saul in prison as a chaplain for Fanny because she was forbidden to visit. He admits to using Elana to get information from Saul. So Elana was a tool, in a way.
Fearless assesses Grove during this conversation, declaring him 3/4 bad. It's a concise judgment, typical of Fearless's ability to quickly size people up based on their behavior and motivations. I trust Fearless's judgment on that.
Me too. The trail leads back to Milo's office. Milo is smug, talking about a goose that lays the golden egg and waiting for a Mr. North. Paris states he has a problem, and Milo, knowing Paris, confirms it's about Fearless in trouble. Milo always knows.
Milo's financial interests are described as clandestine real estate deals, small business investments, and some more shady enterprises. He's impatient for money, always wanting to see the payoff quickly. He's in it for the profit.
Paris connects another seemingly unrelated detail here, recalling Landry Lamming, a city official, and money from an out-of-town business, Laval and Kyla Biendu in San Diego. Paris had stolen envelopes with the San Diego address from Lamming's car to help Fearless, hoping to lessen the pain of Fearless's breakup with Lucas's mother. He gave the envelopes back, lying about finding them. It's a small detail, but it shows Paris's history of getting involved in Fearless's schemes, even minor ones, and highlights another potential connection to out-of-town money. These threads keep appearing.
There's also a small detail about Theodore Wally, who gave Paris's sister's kids new comics from his market stall because he felt sorry about the store burning down. This seems like a minor act of kindness, but it links Wally directly to the fire and his boss, Antonio, a name to remember.
Milo delivers a dire warning related to the money. He mentions Waverly and luxury for life money, like a Swiss ski chalet, emphasizing that if Waverly is involved, it's not no-colored money. This starkly illustrates the racial lines drawn in the world of big money and organized crime Paris is now caught up in. Paris realizes his situation is frightening. Understatement.
Needing a secure base, Paris and Fearless rent an apartment from a landlord named Fontenelle, simply described as living, a small detail that stands out against the backdrop of death and destruction. Just living.
Milo provides Leon Douglas's address on Orchard Street. They go there and spot a scout before Leon leaves in a car. In a moment of strategic thinking, Paris decides not to follow Leon, but instead to check the house for Elana, cynically stating, "That girl ain't nobody's friend." He's learning not to trust easily. Good call.
They find Elana inside, in a bathrobe. She puts on a dress. Paris notes that Fearless is unfazed by finding her there, which he interprets as proof that Fearless is a better man than himself, less easily rattled by the complexities of women and danger.
And just as they find her, Leon returns and attacks Paris again. It's a brutal personal assault, showing Leon's persistent targeting of Paris. He just won't let up.
But Fearless intervenes. He fights Leon, described as having bested a warrior. Fearless takes care of the threat, while Leon, defeated, manages one last threat to kill Paris if he gets up again. Fearless handles business.
After the fight, Fearless takes Elana in Paris's car, and Paris follows in Layla's Packard. Fearless, feeling cocky after getting out of jail and beating Leon, drives toward Central Avenue, a cruising street. Paris feels like Fearless is showing Elana off, a return to Fearless's complicated relationship dynamics. Typical Fearless, maybe.
Then they see Sergeant Latham's car. Elana is inside, and Fearless is outside. Latham puts Elana in the front seat. Paris has to make 3 quick, terrifying decisions. Leave Fearless, who seems safe for the moment, follow Latham, the crooked cop who might have the bond, and force himself to overcome his deep fear of lawmen and drive.
This choice highlights Paris's core fear. Following Latham terrifies him more than fighting Leon. He reflects on fearing law more than criminals, believing more black folks have been killed by those claiming to be enforcing the law than by those who are breaking it. It's a powerful statement on the reality of racial injustice and police brutality in his world. Chillingly relevant.
Paris follows Latham's car. Latham drives through various districts, ending up at the swanky Pine Grove Hotel. Paris is surprised Elana is treated well here, noting the tall white man escorting them out, John Manley, the real estate agent who called Fanny's. It's him.
Paris continues to follow, this time to the Las Palmas Motel on Adams, a much rougher neighborhood. They check into room 12B, quite a step down from the Pine Grove.
From a payphone at the Las Palmas, Paris calls Fearless, bringing him into the unfolding situation. Smart move.
Events reach a bloody climax at the Las Palmas Motel. Paris sees Reverend Grove arrive, followed by Sergeant Latham. They both go into room 12B.
Paris hears shots, screams, crashing. He goes to the alley behind the motel and finds Latham and Grove dead. He hears faint sounds from Latham, but they fade. Fearless arrives, saying someone was running up the alley.
They find Elana's purse on the ground. Fearless picks it up. They run back to Paris's car. As they drive away, Fearless bursts into full laughter, a jarring reaction that makes Paris wonder if he's losing his mind. What is with that laugh?
All right. Later, from Nathan's diner, Paris calls the Las Palmas, asking for a fake name, Helen Huggins, in room 12B. A man answers, then the clerk confirms a woman fled the scene and asks if her name was Huggins. Paris hangs up, confirming Elana's escape. She got away again.
Back at Milo's office, they try to piece together the increasingly complex situation. They summarize that white people are looking for a bond Saul Tannenbaum gave to Leon, which was passed via Fanny and Elana. They believe the bond is real because, as Fearless claims, they saw it, though Paris questions when and where.
They connect the dots. Leon was after Elana. She ended up with him, then with Latham. John Manley met Latham and Elana at the fancy hotel, likely about the bond. They speculate Manley might have the bond and the money now, and if so, Elana's probably gone. Makes sense.
They list the other players. John Manley, who called Fanny's, maybe not just a real estate agent. Zev Miner, who walked into Fanny's house without ringing. And the dead. Latham, Grove, and Fanny. Paris's store is burned down, the origin of his entry into this. Milo, meanwhile, remains focused on his impatient business schemes. Still about the money for Milo.
Loretta receives calls at Milo's office from Lila, who Fearless called to apologize for keeping her car, and from Gela Greenspan.
Paris calls Gela. She's urgent and worried because her husband Morris left the house after Saul died and she heard his car leave. She explains Morris was close to Saul and Fanny and helped them while Saul was in prison, although Saul and Fanny didn't appreciate Morris's lack of humor. Gela desperately asks if Fearless can help look for Morris. Paris offers to come himself if Fearless is busy, and Gela accepts, asking him to hurry. Poor Gela.
In a moment of unexpected kindness, Paris tells Gela that Morris does notice her sadness, even if he doesn't show it, offering her some comfort in her distress. It's nice of Paris.
It is. Paris then visits the site of his burnt bookstore. He finds it's been cleared and swept clean by workmen. The neighbor tells him the landlords had insurance and fire investigators didn't even talk to him. This reinforces Paris's feeling of being erased, of his identity being swept away, while the system moves on without him, like he never mattered.
Still seeking answers about Grove, Paris visits Father Vincent's church again, using the name Mr. Lockwood. Vincent repeats Holderlin's story about claiming to work for the Jewish government, Israel, Tannenbaum stealing money, the bond being one of many, and offering a finder's fee for Elana.
Paris presses him on the Israel connection, which Vincent confirms. Paris notes the suspicious look Vincent gives him when asked about the money's value, suggesting Vincent suspects more than he's saying. Vincent knows something.
The deacons question Paris, but he maintains his lie that Elana Love is his missing cousin. He also lies about the scar on his face, claiming it's from saving someone, adding a fabricated layer of heroism to his persona. He's getting better at this lying thing.
Desperate for information about the Tannenbaum's world, Paris goes to Zev's miner's office, and Jimmy's open a file drawer, noting it's the uglier, presumably more secure, desk. Takes initiative.
Inside, he finds documentation revealing Morris Greenspan is the executing and signatory agent for major European and British insurance policies and a signatory for over a dozen companies. Paris instantly realizes Morris is a patsy, a big dodo, a figurehead involved in something far beyond his apparent capabilities. He finds no information on a woman named Lily or a secret apartment, details he might have been looking for based on other clues.
This discovery is significant. It links the seemingly domestic tragedy of the Tannenbaums directly to a world of international high finance and insurance schemes, solidifying the scope of the hidden money Holderlin and the Israelis are after. Morris isn't just a tangential character, he's unknowingly key to the financial side of the mystery.
Wow.
Paris decides to confront John Manley. He calls the Pine Grove Hotel, and the snooty clerk is quickly intimidated by Fearless over the phone. They meet Manley, handsome, white, the same man Paris saw with Latham and Elana. With Manley are two other men, Ari, short, muscled, unhappy, and Lev, taller, pale, wearing a small cap. Manley introduces them explicitly as Israeli Secret Service.
The international intrigue is now front and center. This isn't just a local Watts mystery anymore. It involves state actors. Let's just get really serious.
Paris gets straight to the point. He's there about a Jewish fortune stolen by Nazis and one turncoat Jew. Manley invites them in to talk about the money. The Israelis immediately deny involvement in the Tannenbaum deaths. Of course they do. And here's where Fearless takes control, introducing a pivotal name. He asks about Zimmerman. The name drops like a stone, creating immediate, intense tension. The Israelis react strongly, demanding to know what Paris and Fearless know about Zimmerman.
Fearless doesn't back down. He claims it was Zimmerman who caused Saul and Fanny's killings, stating this is his reason for not shooting them right now. Lev repeats Zimmerman, almost as if committing the name to memory. Fearless asserts dominance, telling them to sit down, demanding they either fight or talk. Fearless in charge.
This is Fearless at his most commanding, using his presence and reputation to gain the upper hand over trained agents. Manley signals his acceptance by instructing Ari to sit. Smart move by Manley.
Paris, seeing the advantage, presses for his restitution, his finder's fee. He starts at $100,000 and boldly raises it to a new place, $500,000. Ari questions why they should care. Fearless reinforces the threat, standing and implying his dangerous capabilities. You don't want to know what I can do.
Manley insists they had nothing to do with the deaths, but Fearless holds firm, repeating that Zimmerman caused the killings. Then, Fearless makes a bold claim. He knows where the money is. Manley, perhaps under pressure or believing Fearless, offers half as a finder's fee. Fearless accepts. Done deal. Just like that.
After the meeting, Paris is furious. Fearless lied. He doesn't know where the money is. Fearless explains he was pushing him, leveraging the tension around Zimmerman. He reveals his true motivation for being involved beyond helping Paris. He's after Zimmerman because Zimmerman had Saul killed, and he will pay with blood and money his freedom or his life.
This is a crucial moment for understanding Fearless. His pursuit of justice, or vengeance, for Saul is deeply personal. Paris argues that Morris killed Fanny, but Fearless dismisses this, saying Zimmerman drove him crazy, implying Zimmerman is the ultimate orchestrator of the tragedy. Paris, ever cautious, worries the Israelis will be after them now that Fearless lied, but Fearless suggests Paris can give them Morris's note as an apology, a flimsy excuse. That won't work, surely.
Probably not. As they drive past Gella's house, they see 3 police cars, grimly assuming Morris has been found. Fearless notes that Gella must be hurtin' over this, showing a flicker of empathy amidst his focus on Zimmerman.
The focus shifts back to the local tragedy, momentarily pulling away from the international conspiracy, but the threat of the Israelis lingers. It's not over.
They track down Theodore Wally. He's terrified, and he confesses. He burned down Paris's bookstore because his boss, Mr. Antonio, told him to. Antonio was like a father figure to Wally and said it would be okay, just take the money.
This is a devastating confession for Paris. He's furious, hitting Wally, causing money to fall out, likely the payment Wally received. Wally scrambles to collect the money, bleeding, while Paris blames him for everything, for all the trouble that started with the fire. Raw anger.
Fearless tries to intervene, offering a kind of defense for Wally. He couldn't help it, suggesting Wally didn't know the true impact or significance of what he was burning, perhaps never having read a book himself. But Paris is too consumed by anger and pain and just wants to see Milo. Understandable.
They go to Milo's office. But Milo is meeting a Mr. Widlow at the Lawson and Widlow accounting office in Beverly Hills about a big deal. Milo is still smug about the goose that lays the golden egg. Loretta is gone, sent away by Milo. Milo's associate brought a large sum, $750,000 as a down payment.
And just then, violence erupts again. They are attacked right there in the accounting office by Leon Douglas, Trix, and Mr. Christopher, a man Fearless recognizes from the church, likely Holderlin, the German-speaking man Father Vincent mentioned, connecting the attack directly to the group seeking the bond. It all comes together.
Milo confirms Fearless was right about the trouble they attract. In the chaos, Fearless yells, "Get down," protecting Paris and Milo. Trix is shot, and Leon is killed. Mr. Christopher escapes. Another shootout.
In the shootout, Milo is shot in the arm and Fearless is shot in the hand. Fearless's reaction is visceral. He realizes his baby finger was shot off, exclaiming in pain and disbelief, "Oh man, his finger."
Paris finds the severed finger on the floor. In a gruesome but practical act, he puts it in his pocket, realizing it has Fearless's fingerprint on it, a potential complication or piece of evidence. Quick thinking, maybe.
Paris drives the wounded Fearless and Milo to Loretta's parents' house. They are Japanese-American, don't speak English, but are described as surprisingly calm, cleaning and bandaging their wounds. Milo stays there to recover.
Paris then drops Fearless off at Dorothea's, leaving him in what he hopes is a safe place.
But the consequences aren't over. Paris returns to Theodore Wally's apartment. He finds Wally dead, shot. The body has been cleaned and bandaged, suggesting someone was trying to cover up the scene, but it's still warm. Wally's dead too. This is relentless.
Paris sits with Wally's body, grieving. It's a moment of quiet despair after the frantic violence. And then Elana Love reappears, hiding in the apartment. She has a pistol and admits she was hiding earlier, seeing Paris beat Wally. She's back.
Elana finally completes her story, clarifying crucial details. She explains how she connected with Wally, who was looking for Paris. She recounts the Las Palmas shootout. She called Vincent, who brought that big white German dude, Holderlin Christopher. They were planning to rob Latham and Grove, but someone warned Latham, and Latham ran with her bag thinking the bond was inside.
Paris makes a sharp guess about how she got the bond back, suggesting she took it out while Latham was sleeping after something she did with your tongue. Elana gets angry, confirming his suspicion about her retrieving the bond. She got it back.
Paris, connecting the dots from his own experience, provides Elana with the crucial link. Leon's connection to the Lawson and Widlow accounting firm in Beverly Hills, telling her it's on me, a final piece of information shared before he tries to exit the situation.
Elana asks if he wants to come with her, presumably to pursue the bond. But Paris refuses, stating unequivocally, not for $100,000. He tells her he's done had enough shit, implying that even sitting next to Wally's corpse feels safer than continuing to chase this money and the doom it brings. He calls the money a kind of doom. He's had enough.
Elana calls him a fool and leaves. Paris has made his choice. He rejects the pursuit of wealth and danger, opting out of the high-stakes game.
But his decision to step out doesn't save him. Immediately after Elana leaves, the police arrive at Wally's apartment. And in a final ironic twist, they arrest Paris. Not for the murders, the shootouts, or the hunt for the bond, but for the arson of your landlord's property, the burning of his own bookstore, the very event that started his terrifying journey. Oh, the irony.
He used his one phone call to Charlotte, telling her he's in jail and the charges are wrong.
Leaving us with Paris, the reluctant man of books, incarcerated for the destruction of his livelihood, having navigated a world of killers, international spies, and hidden fortunes, only to be caught by the very system he tried to avoid. What an ending. For now.
Wow, what a journey. We started with a quiet bookstore owner in Watts, whose life was completely upended by a mysterious woman, violence, and fire. Just bang.
And that single event pulled us into a sprawling, complex web involving his protective but dangerous friend, Fearless, the enigmatic Elana Love, crooked cops like Latham, Seemingly respectable figures like Reverend Grove and John Manley, a terrified pawn like Wally, international players like the Israeli Secret Service and the elusive Zimmerman and Christopher. It's quite a cast.
We saw how seemingly unrelated events, a woman looking for a preacher, a prison favor, an accounting firm, a library, book business, were all connected by this mysterious bond, hinting at a history of hidden fortunes and dangerous secrets stretching back across the globe. It's staggering, really.
The deep dive into these chapters really highlights some core ideas. First, those unexpected connections. How a simple act of trying to help or just being in the wrong place can link you to a network of individuals and events far beyond your imagination, crossing boundaries of class, race, and nationality. You just never know.
It also shows the true nature of getting into trouble. It escalates fast.
Yeah.
Paris, who isn't courageous and just wants to survive, finds himself repeatedly forced into dangerous situations because of loyalty, desperation, and the sheer momentum of the events Elana brought. It just sweeps him along.
And we see the myriad of hidden motivations driving people. The relentless pursuit of money, whether it's the grand sum of the bond or Wally's small payment for burning the store. Actions driven by fear, by loyalty, by desperation, and by complex, often concealed agendas from those operating in the shadows like Zimmerman or Mr. Christopher. Everyone wants something.
And perhaps, most compellingly, it blurs the lines between good and bad. Fearless is undeniably violent, a killer, yet fiercely loyal and protective of Paris. Fanny is a kind older woman, but tied to potentially stolen wealth and dangerous people. Even within the police force, we see both routine, if biased, authority, and outright corruption. Trust is a rare and fragile thing in this world.
It forces you to think about how you would navigate such a world. When information is fragmented, trust is scarce, and danger lurks everywhere, often tied to histories you don't understand. How do you make choices? Who do you believe? And how do you escape when you're caught in something far bigger than yourself? Tough questions.
Exactly. Paris's journey is a stark illustration of just how easily a quiet life can intersect with profound systemic danger. It could happen to anyone, almost.
So here's something to consider. The text implies this bond was one of many, and linked to immense wealth from a history of theft. Given the violence and death this single bond has caused, what other secrets might still be out there? And who else might be unwittingly drawn into this dangerous web in the aftermath of these events? Feels like this is just the beginning.
That's a question that hangs heavy in the air. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.